Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. This guy, honestly, is one of the biggest frauds in the entire mainstream media, full stop. You know, I've signaled my distrust and disdain for Jake Tapper in the past, and especially back in the day when Chris Cuomo and little Bry Stelter and little Donnie Lemon were getting all the hate at CNN. I remember so many times in my older videos saying, you know what? All those guys take all the negative attention, and it distracts away from Jake Tapper, making it seem as if he's not like them. He's one of the more fair guys at CNN, but that's never been the case in my view. Jake Tapper has always been one of the worst. To be honest, I think Jake Tapper's always been worse than Don Lemon, because at least Don Lemon, you know that he's a leftist activist. He doesn't exactly try to hide it. Jake Tapper, however, is always pretending, Oh no, me? I could never be biased. He's constantly gaslighting us as if our perception is skewed and he's just perfect. But he is such a liar and fraud, and it's not even funny. And now as he's attempting to do this little rewriting of history tour, as I like to call it, well, I think it's having the exact opposite effect that he'd like. Yeah, he's tanking his credibility into the ditch, or at least further into the ditch, as nobody is buying any of his whack arguments and attempts to twist and justify his behavior. And, well, his ratings at CNN are collapsing. Full-blown collapse. Jake Tapper's now getting the lowest ratings in a decade, despite his attempt to win back the trust of the people. It's having the exact opposite effect. Well, let me show you why. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I can't necessarily put my finger on it. I can't exactly figure out why people aren't perceiving Jake Tapper as genuine. Oh, I just don't know.
Do you think that the media would have gotten this story sooner if it was Trump?
I don't, actually, because these issues of health are so sensitive to talk about and to report. And as you say, yes, we saw weird moments of Joe Biden. We also see weird moments, and they're different. They're not the same issue. They're not acuity issues, but we see weird moments of Donald Trump calling Nancy Pelosi, Nikki Haley, and the like. But it's impossible to say, as you noted, this is what's going on behind closed doors if nobody behind those closed doors is talking. I really just don't think that. I mean, there are a million questions I'd love to ask about what's going on behind the scenes in the Trump White House that we can't get because they're not talking. I get that that's their job is not to leak to us anymore. And this is a much less leaky Trump White House than the first one. So I guess I just don't think so. That's not to say that I'm denying that there's a liberal bias in the media. I'm not denying that 100%. But on health and sensitivity issues, I don't think so. In 2019, Donald Trump went to Walter Reed, and we still don't know what he went to Walter Reed for. It still hasn't been reported, and they still haven't disclosed it. That in itself answers that question.
Yeah, I'd say it's incredibly obvious now, isn't it? I mean, are you freaking serious? He gets asked, do you think that we would have gotten to the story sooner if it was Donald Trump? And he says, I don't actually think so. Automatically. I don't even want to necessarily go into the details or formulate a counterpoint here, because it's just such obvious bullcrap. As if the media wouldn't have covered Donald Trump's mental decline if it was as totally blatant as it was with Joe Biden. What an absolute nutcase to say something like this. Ooh, health is such a sensitive issue. Does he really expect people to buy this? Well, what do you think happened within a couple moments of this Jake Tapper video going viral? Yeah, the receipts and all the clips started to drop. Take a look at this supercut from Maze on X.
Obviously, his behavior is erratic and unusual. Do you think there's a case to be made that he's unfit? Fits in with this general theme that there are senior officials in the Trump administration who are trying to protect the country from President Trump's worst impulses. People on the White House staff used to do hashtag TFA, the 25th Amendment, whenever President Trump did anything crazy. This isn't the first time our viewers have heard the term 25th Amendment. They know what it means. The new explosive book, Fire and Fury, is giving lawmakers more momentum to question whether President Trump is mentally fit for office, they say. A bill on Capitol Hill that could start a formal process to evaluate any president's mental fitness is getting more interest, with 56 co-sponsors, all Democrats. You and several of your Democratic House colleagues met with a psychiatry professor from Yale, Dr. Bandy Lee. She told CNN today, quote, as the president is unraveling, he seems to be losing his grip on reality and reverting to conspiracy theories, and even discussed trying to garner support from cabinet officials to potentially invoke the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. This would remove President Trump from office for being unfit to serve.
This guy spent all kinds of time talking about Donald Trump's mental state and fitness for office, or possibly invoking the 25th Amendment. He went on and on and on about it, just like every other fake news hack on CNN and all the other networks. Oh, we wouldn't have gotten to the story sooner if it was Donald Trump. You're an absolute clown, Jake Tapper. The track record's already locked in. We had a president for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, who was mentally fit, working harder than nearly any other president prior to him. Donald Trump was competent, healthy, in a good mental state, yet you spoke about invoking the 25th Amendment there. Then we had Dementia Joe from 2020 to 24, and you pretended for 4 years like it never existed, despite the fact that it was plainly, blatantly, utterly obvious. Come on. This guy was staring dementia in the face, and he thinks he can gaslight us into thinking that he genuinely, honestly just missed the story. Oh, whoops. Oh, I just didn't see it. What can I say? Go F yourself, man. As if we're so stupid. Well, obviously we're not. And I'm purposely saying we're not because it's not just me. No, people don't seem to be buying this guy's crap even in the least. Jake Tapper's obviously engaging in this tour to mend his image, to make it seem like he's the only honest guy in the room in the mainstream media. Yeah, if you need good news, listen to Jake Tapper. Well, I don't think it's working so hot. Jake Tapper suffers the lowest ratings in a decade after backlash over White House tell-all. He's released this little book, and it's now tanked his career. He is an absolute fraud. Clearly, not too many people are buying his pathetic little attempts at rewriting history, and that's what it's all about. We can all see right through it. Little Jakey, you should have never written this book. You're not the guy to tell this story. And obviously, there was some personal angle for you here to write this book in the first place.
In terms of the left, it's a money grab. That's not the case. It's not, I don't want to get into where my money comes from, but CNN is my main job, and that's where my main source of income by far. Very few people write books to make money. You write a book because you want to say something, you want to have a legacy, you want to uncover something, you have a message you want to get out there. I don't think people write books about Joe Biden to make money. We are gratified that people are buying this book.
That's a good point.
I mean, the idea that I would do this for money, it's silly and not true.
Jake Tapper tries to convince us as if it wasn't about the money. He just had, a really important story to tell. Sure, buddy. I actually kind of believe him. I don't think it was about the money, but it wasn't about telling a genuine story either. It was about rewriting history, attempting to save face, and gaslighting the American people one more time. And well, how did that work out, huh? Jake Tapper, you are an absolute clown, and nobody believes you. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.